On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, the Miami Dolphins get some good news as Jaelan Phillips is activated off of PUP, but at the same time, a few more bodies are lost to injury. Tua Tagovailoa looked very sharp today from the people I talked to that were there, as well as the reports. So we will talk about that and recap day 13 of training camp. Plus, we'll go over Tyreek saying Tua can win the MVP this year. And we will talk about so much more. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field on the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown again!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate all y'all for coming through on this Monday, as we're going to have practice today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and a joint practice on Thursday that I believe Dougley Durong will be attending. So smash that like button as you come through. Subscribe if you're new. We are real close to hitting 16K. We aren't far off at all. We are about 67 new subs away from 16K. Let's get there. I want to get to 20K by the end of this season. I can smell it. I can feel it. I can sniff it. So let's get there. All right. So shout out to each and every one of you for coming through on this glorious day. As man, listen, I told all y'all I did not believe this Jets hype and the dysfunction that is going on with that franchise, at least compared to us. Haason Reddick, if you have not heard, Haason Reddick has actually requested a trade from the Jets. And, you would think, okay, that's the big news, but it gets even better because the Jets basically responded to him. Now, the Jets were informed by Haason Reddick's agency and representation today that he would report and play under his current contract. That never happened. They let Reddick know they're open to adjusting his current deal, by converting money to guaranteed money, but only when he showed up. And he hasn't. And, he has now requested a trade, and they shot back. I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a statement from Joe Douglas and said, and I quote, "We have informed Haason that we will not trade him, that he's expected to be here with his teammates, and that he will be continuing to be fined per the CBA if he does not report. Since his trade discussions back in March, we have been clear, direct, and consistent with our position. Our focus will remain on the guys we have here as we prepare for the regular season." This isn't how a Super Bowl and a playoff winning team functions, ladies and gentlemen. You got Aaron Rodgers returning from injury. He'll be running for his life. You got Haason Reddick requests one trade from the Eagles, gets traded to New York. And what is this? Haason Reddick's second trade request in 6 months? Where are we at right now? That's absolutely hilarious to me. Absolutely hilarious. I love every minute of it. I ain't gonna lie. I told all y'all, I don't believe this Jets hype. We're nothing. You can't sell me on this. I'm sorry. You can't. Rome Gray shows up and he says, Jets, just end this season, and it ain't even started yet, bro. It ain't even started yet. Shout out to Aaron Berg. He says, thanks for the on-air post last night. Reason we still have a long way to go with my wife's leukemia, but she had a good day today. Thanks for the prayers, Fin fam. Love you all. Continue to send positive energy and continue to send prayers Aaron's way. I mean, man, can't imagine what you're going through with your wife. That's awful, awful stuff, man. So just continue to pray that she does good and she continues, and she beats this thing. She's got it. Don't worry. She'll beat this. We got faith. I want to shout out a few people. Shout out to Sideline T. They, go subscribe to them if you haven't yet. They just reached over 1,000. I thought yesterday's episode with Jen and Neil was fantastic. If you haven't had a chance, go check that out. And shout out to the Blitz Pickup, new channel on YouTube headed by Tony Age, Lewis, and Alex. I'm going to have some Jaelan Phillips highlights from today, and a couple of those are provided by them. So shout out to them for, showing me love and holding me down like that, being my eyes down there when I can't be there. I appreciate that. So shout out to them, and shout out to each and every one of you. Already 200 of you in the room right now. Your boy, he is just full-blown summer cold. Coach AJ, Pro Special, Scotty, Deontay Monroe, Scotty Joe, Taryn Langover, Diehards Fins fan, Lemony Crawdad, Cool Iguana, Andrew Harris, Bubba Bedford. What's going on, Bubba? Bubba was one of the many people that came up to me on day 2 of joint practice. Charles Hilton, Mike Mars, Brian Gugger, 99, Jason Stamps, B-Rob, Elpad, Stetsano, Kristen Reinhart, EM Baller, Troy Thibodeau. Who else we got in here? We got Zoboy Fresh, Kurok 1972, Perfect Tommy, Finn Fella, RSCH11, Jeffrey Ward, Kevin Williams. What's going on, homie? Another one of those, one of the many that met me down at training camp. Mark Brown, Josh Miller, EMT242. What's up, Q? How are you doing? Captain Charisma, Christian's in the building. Travel Adventures with Eric B. No Rock Kim. M Cord. What's going on? Rome Gray. How is everyone doing? Darth Sadik. Aaron Berg, Ken Rosa, Russell. Shout out to each and every one of you who have showed up already. All right. I appreciate you. Tony Rizzi. My team keeps letting me down. 6193 ASNF. Wayne D. How you doing? Isaiah Mullins, Chris G, Robert Fuller, Dana Bruce, Garden 79, Little LV 772, MW Green 1, PL, Elvden, Melkich, Tori Dixon. Shout out to all of you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through on this Monday. We got a lot to go over here. A lot to go over. Oh, 1 second. Excuse me. Got to beat that congestion, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to all of you for coming through. Already well over 200 of you in the room. I appreciate that. So, I mean, another thing I did want to discuss here, I mean, it's just so beautiful. Son Reddick. Oh my God, all the Jets fans that told us they were going to win the Super Bowl, and all the Jets fans that said they're going to be this and they're going to be that. Man, how does that feel? Eat that crow, huh? The Bills, they signed Ben DiNucci today. I mean, after that performance we saw from our backups on Friday, you'd think we would have signed Ben DiNucci, but we didn't. I'm not saying I want Ben DiNucci. I made it known yesterday in a show prior to that. Where I'm at, if you want to upgrade the backup quarterback position, is if I will take the loser of the Case Keenum, Davis Mills battle. That's where I'm at. I mean, I said on the show yesterday, I said it a few shows before that. If you are trying to upgrade that, I think that's the best option. I'm not a huge by any chance Ryan Tannehill fan and what he'd be in this offense at all. But I mean, hey, you never know. But again, if Tua something happens to Tua, then, we got to get a more serious, proven vet, to be honest with you. So, but, I just wanted to reiterate that because I talked about it yesterday and I talked about it a few shows before that. So, just because I know that's going to be a question. And then when I saw Ben DiNucci get signed, I kind of laughed at myself that the Bills are up here, trying to upgrade. Another thing, too, for all of you on Justin Simmons watch, Justin Simmons is actually visiting with the Atlanta Falcons. So, and I'll play a clip here today from Mike McDaniel. By the sounds of it, they are happy with what they got going on in that safety room. I mean, you play the clip and you listen to the wording, he puts Nick Needham ahead of, Marcus May on the depth chart. Does our coach, Mike McDaniel. So, I don't think safety is as dire for them as some of us might be, wanting them to upgrade that position clearly. Right? So, now, hey, would I love Justin Simmons? Sure, but let's be honest here, right? Let's be honest here. He's going to want to be clearing away a starter, and I don't know if they can guarantee him that. Bless me, I had to sneeze. So, because they can't guarantee him a starting spot, I don't expect Justin Simmons, and I never really did expect Justin Simmons. So, Atlanta, him and that crew over there, that's a decent 1-year spot for him if he's gonna give a team a shot. You know what I mean? Personally, would I like Simmons? Sure, but I think there would be expectations that come with it. This is why, and I'll talk about this again. This is why I wanted Justin Simmons. I wanted Justin Simmons if you can't get something done with Javon Holland. I want the fallback plan. That's what I wanted. But then we just saw Patrick McMorris on Friday night. And listen, you can say it was against twos, it was against threes, et cetera, but you were seeing instincts on display. You were seeing an instinctual player on display. That instincts don't go away, whether it's the first string, the second string, or the third string you're playing against. You either got instincts for this game or you don't. And Patrick McMorris is very, very instinctual. I kind of want to see what they got with Elijah Campbell, Patrick McMorris, and even Nick Needham with the conversion. Nick Needham had a huge pass breakup. Now I get it. The muffed kick because it hit him in the bum. Okay, cool. But I'm talking about from a defensive standpoint. So, where I'm at with this is there's no need for Justin Simmons. There really isn't, especially after what we saw on display from Patrick McMorris. There's zero need. Zero need. Would I like him? Sure, but he's a luxury at this point. If they're going to spend money, you know where I'd rather them spend it. Go get me a Mark Lewinsky. Go get me a Scott Quisenberry. If Brian Allen is healthy, go get me Brian Allen, who has experience in this type of scheme. Ryan Haynes. Go get me a guard and a center. That's where I'm at with that. If they're going to spend money, I'd rather them spend it on the offensive trenches. That's just my preference. Exactly, Gary. But can we talk about this too? Am I the only one who thinks that MFers are going to get lit up all season on this new kickoff rule? Like, I remember watching it. Go back to the live stream. I remember watching it and just being like, man, like, you cannot play Achane or Tyreek or Waddle on one of these. Like, you gotta find kickoff specialists legitimately who are just there, because dudes are gonna take beatings. It just looked like it's lined up for people just to take beatings all game. So, man, from the moment I saw it in action, I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. People are going to get hurt this year throughout the NFL. You know, I know Brittany said yesterday in the chat, she thinks it's going to be scrapped after 1 year. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because you are hearing the hits. Perfect for Easy. I don't know about that. I'm not sending a guy who can't stay healthy up on that, you know? So, I don't know. Didn't they get that kickoff from the XFL? Was it violent there, Scotty? I don't watch the XFL, brother. And I will say this, the better athletes, the better hitters, and, you know, they're in the NFL, you know? Troy Dixon says this is football. It should be big hits. I agree, but you're unnecessarily putting him in the position. It's one thing to have a big hit that comes from the flow of a play. You are unnecessarily putting them in the position to get lit up. That's the issue. That's the issue for me. You know? So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with the whole thing. So let's get into this. We got a couple things to go over. A lot of things to go over, in fact. And before we do, I just want to say, before we get into every single thing, I do want to let y'all know that this video, this training camp report, well, it is brought to you by BetUS. Listen, if you think Tua Tagovailoa is going to win the MVP this year, this is why I'm telling you to put it down on plus 2,200. They will match your deposit up to 125%, up all the way up to 2K. All right, so you know you go put 50 down, and they're gonna match that by 125%. You're gonna get even more put down on the odds than you originally put down. Plus, if you win, you get payouts within 24 hours. Some of the quickest payouts in the industry right here with BetUS. 24/7 customer service. I'm telling you right now, BetUS at 2,200, and you can get that on your first bet matched by 125%. What does it hurt? You're going to put money down on it anyways. You might as well get some extra money thrown on top for free. So go check out. The link is in the description below. Go check out BetUS. And like I always say, please gamble responsibly. All right? So shout out to each and every one of you for coming through. Over 300 of you in the room. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time whatsoever. Let's hop right into this. All right. So let's start off with McDaniel's presser today, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So I there's about 4 different parts of his presser I wanted to chop up and talk about. So I chopped them up and I put them together. So let me play those clips and then we'll talk about it.
Will Odell and Jaelan
You're so
Phillips
patient.
come off PUP this week? Do you believe?
Woo!
And also,
Whoa!
Tanner Connor left in discomfort the other night. Do we have an update on whether he's out short term or long term or neither?
The backstory to this, Barry, is unbelievable. Okay, because I was assuming you wouldn't state the right question, and I was going to have to offer up as a gift to your diligence. Just the Jaelan Phillips will be off PUP today.
Excellent, thank you.
Waiting. What does that mean? I don't know, Barry. It means that he's gonna be practicing with his guys. Really excited for him because if you haven't noticed, he's one of the most involved players through the off-season program, and he hasn't taken a snap yet. So excited for him. And that was the news I was ready to break. I don't expect to see Odell this week, but I would put it in the week-to-week category after that. So, I'm just feeling really open, so I'm just throwing that information out.
And then with Tanner.
It was uncomfortable, and so he's going to be with the training staff today. I think he will be working his way back. When do I expect? I don't expect it in the next couple practices. Beyond
there you go.
that is really hard for me to forecast.
There's a bunch of other wide receiver questions that you guys have had. Waddle, obviously Berrios, Schwartz. What wide receivers do you expect to see in practice this week?
I expect to see a couple. There's some guys that haven't been practicing that I expect, and which will help the depth for that position. I think I expect to see, in what amount that will vary depending on how their body feels through stretch and warm up and stuff. But I expect to see a little bit of Braxton here soon, and expect to see Eric Uzakama today.
Mike, what is Patrick McMorris showing you so far?
So listen to this answer, because there's a little nugget in the answer.
So it's been cool to watch Pat develop in non-padded situations, because you got to see a player directly take technique training and drill work and apply it in his game and evolve his game from the first day we saw him. Talking about breaking, being in a pedal and breaking at a direct angle towards a eligible, as opposed to rounding out of it. Those little things I've seen him develop. And then I think the team got to see him tackle. And that's what we thought we'd be happy with it, but you never know until you get to see someone with the pads on in a tackle situation, and that part of his game is live and active. So it's been cool to watch him really take some extreme. He's taking advantage of the opportunity. The opportunity is that he has a room headed by,
listen to what he says,
Javon and Poyer, that have an immense amount of knowledge. You have Elijah Campbell's really going after it. Nick Needham's getting in there. Sometimes Marcus May has done a lot of stuff in this league, and all those
Nick Needham ahead of Marcus May.
So he's in charge of how far that goes and what he's able to do on this team as a rookie. But what I do know is he's taking full advantage of his ops, and his game continues to grow, and it has to as a rookie. You have to. It's very, very hard to contribute as a rookie in the National Football League, and the rookie years not built for everyone to excel during. So it takes a special commitment, and so far so good with him. We'll see what this week and this practice has in store for us from him.
How does the Keon Smith injury impact that offensive line going forward?
Listen to his answer here again.
To some guys,
he implies they're good on offensive line.
Keon is a guy that was a hard. It's always really, really hard to, in real time, watch a player really digest the reality of a season-ending injury, because I don't think enough is kind of like, or people don't really think of it this way, but you have all these objectives and this forecasting that's built up, just like coverage for the National Football League is built up for months. And then all of a sudden, boom, wow, it's all different. So for Keon, who's really been bold in how he's gone after his job, and he's developed his since we've been here as much as anyone. One of our favorite guys to coach. That was tough. That was tough. I think there are some real strong battles going on.
Listen to what he says
on the offensive line. That, what does this do? Well, it forces guys to kind of clear those battles up. give some opportunities. Fortunately, we
Right here.
I don't know how many NFL offensive linemen we have, but it's more than you're able to keep on a roster.
Ooh.
So that's the good news is that there will be guys that will get ops and have to step their game up because Keon is somebody that we've learned to rely upon more and more, and that's somebody's got to step up in this place, and who that's going to be, they'll have the first opportunity to tell me today.
So right there, you heard him right from his mouth. Fortunately, he said, I don't know how many offensive linemen we have on this roster right now, but fortunately, we have enough, more than enough, than we'll be able to keep on the 53. So he's implying that they have a surplus of offensive linemen. That's literally what he's telling you right now. He's implying to you that we got enough offensive linemen. That's literally what he's saying. We got more than we'll be able to keep. That's basically what he said. Now, other things he said in there. Eazy-E's going to be back, which he did return today. Barrios is going to be back today, which I think he was back a little bit. And then Jaelan Phillips, he's back today. So we're getting some bodies back, but we're also losing some bodies, and we'll get into that deeper into that here. But the other thing too, he said when he was listing the safeties in the room, sounded like he listed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like he listed Nick Needham ahead of Marcus May. Just saying. Some good nuggets to come away there. It sounds like he listed Needham higher than May. Phillips is back. Eazy-E's going to be back. OBJ's expected to be back next week. Tanner Connor's going to miss at least a couple of practices. Right? So we're getting some receiver help back. But the interesting thing to me right there is him basically implying we got enough offensive linemen, so much so there's going to be guys we want to cut, that we have to cut that are good enough. That's basically what he said. Whether he's right or not, I mean, that's obviously clearly up for debate. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's up for debate. So, listen, let Butch Berry cook, I guess. I don't know what else to say. It's Butch Berry time, baby. That's all I know. Now, the Dolphins did make a few of these things official after the media availability. And this is what they made official. They activated Jaelan Phillips off the PUP list. They signed David Anenya and Wyatt Ray, and they placed Grayson Murphy and Cam Brown on the reserve injury list. Not my boy Grayson. Not my boy Grayson. Well, between those two and Tajay Washington, man, they're using IR like a stash this year. I mean, Grayson Murphy is basically going to be redshirted now because of that. So they won't lose him, which is a good thing. So we'll see something from him next year for sure. Same thing with Tajay Washington. Cam Brown, why that kind of hurts a little bit is Cam Brown was seen as a special team specialist for us, right? So, you know, Grayson Murphy is going to be shut down for the whole year because he tore his MCL. It's over for him. So we'll see Grayson Murphy back next year. But Cam Brown, we were expecting contributions right away, and you're like right away. That game, man, it took a toll on this team injury-wise. You've lost Keon Smith and Grayson Murphy. A key tackle depth piece and one of your young edge depth pieces when you already have uncertainty with guys like Bradley Chubb and when he'll return. Those are some tough losses right there. So just tough pills to swallow for us fans. I mean, we were waiting so hyped for preseason to return, and so are the players. And man, to have these bodies just dropping like flies right now, obviously not anywhere close to ideal. Not anywhere close to ideal. Not anywhere close to ideal. Scotty says you're more worried about the O-line than we are. And then he says this injury saved Keon's job. Stash for another year. Yeah, I think, I think they were going to have, I think both of those guys are going to make the roster, to be honest with you. They love Keon Smith. And you saw they were cross-training him at guard. He was going to make the team. Keon Smith and I think Grayson Murphy were going to make the team. That's what sucks about this, too. Hey, is what it is. Don't ever let it be what it ain't, right? What else can you say? So let's get into training camp from today. Got a lot to go over. So today was kind of a walkthrough day, but still, there were a lot of things that happened today. So let's get into it. Here is the training camp report. As training camp enters its fourth week, injuries continue to mount. At least 12 Dolphins missed practice due to injury today. Keep in mind that teams aren't required to disclose injuries in August. The Dolphins generally don't disclose specific injuries until the league requires it beginning September 4th. Tight end room is depleted as Tanner Conner and Jody Fortson are now out after sustaining injuries during Friday's game against Atlanta. Conner's injury, which looked to be in the area of his ribs, will sideline him for at least a few practices. Fortson is missing time with a stinger. The defensive line was shorthanded. Benito Jones missed a third consecutive practice. And Neville Gallimore also missed practice on Monday after playing well on Friday. Neither of their injuries were disclosed. At receiver, Eric Ezekama returned to practice. Jalen Waddle, who has what McDaniel called a minor injury, participated only in parts of practice. Braxton Berrios will return soon from his injury, according to Mike McDaniel. He was on the field doing some work on Monday. But OBJ remains on PUP, and Anthony Schwartz remains sidelined with an unspecified injury. I mean, no one's missing Anthony Schwartz. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Our running back, Jeff Wilson Jr. and Salvon Ahmed missed practice. Wilson was injured during Friday's game. Ahmed remains out with a foot injury. Raheem Mostert has a compression sleeve on his left leg, but is practicing. Honestly, with what we saw from Chris Brooks, everyone, I would be willing to move Jeff Wilson, and I would see if we can make Chris Brooks that running back 4. On the offensive line, Aaron Brewer remains sidelined with a hand injury. He's week to week per Mike McDaniel. Armstead worked in individual drills and did some 11-11 walkthrough work that didn't put him at risk. Cam Smith remains out, and Ethan Bonner missed practice for undisclosed reasons. Jalen Ramsey also sat out of practice today. Jaelan Phillips, who was activated off PUP, participated in the early individual stages of practice and looked good, then went inside and worked with team personnel. Then he was on the field for an 11-11 drill, done at walkthrough pace without contact. Rookie edge rusher Mo Kamara missed a third consecutive practice, but Chop Robinson returned to practice after missing Friday's game. At safety, Jordan Poyer missed the team's 11-11 drills for a 7th consecutive practice, but he did individual drills. He has a thumb injury, according to his wife. His thumb was in a cast on Monday. Javon Holland also wasn't working in 11-11 drills. With Brewer out, Liam Eichenberg moved back to center on Monday. He had been competing with the starting right guard job. Lester Carton has had a phenomenal camp, according to Mike McDaniel. He continues to get a lot of reps. Meanwhile, center guards Sean Arlow and Jack Driscoll are also in the mix at center and right guard. They played well on Friday. Rob Jones has been listed on the depth chart as a starter at left guard, while Isaiah Wynn remains on PUP, recovering from last October's quad injury. Like, he must have just tore the hell... Did he tear that quad off the bone? Like, what's going on? Tagovailoa is generally sharp with his accuracy, opening 11-11 work with a 15-yard completion to Tyreek Hill. A couple of minutes later, he found Tyreek Hill for another sizable gain. Then Tagovailoa hit tight end Jonnu Smith, who extended his arms to make a nice catch. A bit later, Tagovailoa lofted an 11-yard touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone to Jonnu Smith, who rose to make a very good catch against Nick Needham. Jordan Brooks stopped Devon Achane for a loss in the backfield. Achane gained 4 yards on a run with David Long on the tackle. Curtis Bolton, who has had a good camp, stopped Jalen Wright in the backfield. Chris Brooks scored on a short touchdown run. Driscoll had a nice block on the play. Manuel Ogbah sacked Tagovailoa on a red zone play. Tagovailoa remained generally sharp in red zone drills, completing a 10-yarder in the back of the end zone to Hill, slightly off on a throw to Braxton Berrios in red zone drills, with rookie safety Patrick McMorris doing a good job in coverage. Tagovailoa dropped an Eichenberg snap that was fine. With Ramsey and Bonner and Cam Smith out, the rookie cornerbacks, including Storm Duck, got a lot of work, and Duck played well on Friday. Much of the practice was done at walk-through pace. Tagovailoa took most of the snaps, and Skyler took a few, while Mike White didn't get any. So, yeah, I heard Tua Tagovailoa got 99% of the snaps today. I heard he looked very sharp. I talked to a handful of people who were there today. I heard Tagovailoa looked very sharp. Obviously, didn't play any on Saturday. I thought it was curious that Mike White got 0 snaps. I thought that was very curious because in joint practice last week, Mike White looked better than Skyler. And then the game happened, and now this happens. So I find that very interesting that all of a sudden they pulled back a little bit on, Mike White. And I've said, hey, if Skyler ain't going to win that QB2 job this training camp and this offseason, then what are we doing here? So obviously that battle is getting very, very interesting right now, for sure. Berrios, listen, that depth at wide receiver is just not good. And he might make the team based on default. Now, I got 3 takes that'll be coming soon. I've just been sick the last few days. That's why I didn't do it. But some interesting things I heard at camp regarding him in the wide receiver position I'll talk about. But, man, he might just get on by default. Let's be honest with ourselves. We know who the top 5 are. Tyreek, Jaelan, OBJ, Malik, and River. And, Izakam and Berrios, they have a chance to make that wide receiver 6 battle interesting and only really be between them. Because, no one's counting on Anthony Schwartz or Braylon Sanders or Kyrick McGowan to really make this team. Let's be honest with ourselves. So, and we're starting to, the injuries are starting to pile up a little bit at corner, right? Cam Smith is out. Ethan Bonner's missing practice. And, another good takeaway today, Curtis Bolton out there still making plays, eh? And, I said it during reading the article. I'll say it again. If you can trade Jeff Wilson and get anything for him, this might be the move. And just let Chris Brooks be that running back 4. Shout out to Josh Miller for joining the Hall of Fame level. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we're going to go over a little bit more training camp, and then we're going to look at some highlights from Jaelan Phillips and how he looked today, all right? So this is what the Sun Sentinel said today. They got their usual stock up, stock down, and their report from Furones and Perkins and what they saw today. So let's get into it. So Tua sees a lot of reps in red zone heavy Monday. After the quarterback reps in Friday's preseason opener for the Miami Dolphins against the Atlanta Falcons were split between backup candidates Skylar Thompson and Mike White, Dolphins starter Tua Tagovailoa took charge on Monday's practice, took all the snaps in the team setting of the inter-squad session for a large portion of the day's work. It wasn't until one of the final walkthrough drills when Thompson went in at quarterback. This isn't uncommon for Tagovailoa. He had a similar practice last year around the same point in camp. Dolphins had an emphasis on red zone work, and Tagovailoa made several impressive throws and decisions. Many of his best passes went to Tyreek Hill. They then went into a series of walkthroughs working on half speed on a day when several players returned to practice or saw an uptick in practice participation. Miami has a week long of practices with 2 more inter-squad sessions Tuesday and Wednesday before a joint practice with the Washington Commanders on Thursday and a Saturday night preseason game with the Washington Commanders. One of the more impressive throws Tagovailoa made was across the middle to Hill, crossing in the end zone. Tagovailoa went through a progression and a series of reads before hitting Hill in a tight spot. The first 11-11 period in the red zone saw Tagovailoa hit Hill a couple of times for a short out and then a wide open route in the left flat, which gave Hill ample room to run. Hill got the ball in several in several different ways early during team drills. Can't get too specific with play design, but just know Mike McDaniel was using his creativity. So apparently they had a double tight end set out of 12 personnel today, and they were running a lot of 12 personnel, and Chris Brooks was in the backfield. So tight end Jonnu Smith was also found on a similar route that got Hill open with the opportunity to run for a touchdown in the red zone with one broken tackle. Durham Smith was also hit short after Tagovailoa bought time in the pocket. Smith found the end zone on a corner route to the back pylon on a beautiful throw from Tagovailoa over Nick Needham. Chris Brooks had a touchdown run behind the blocking of Jack Driscoll. Fellow running back Jalen Wright, after standout performance in Friday's preseason opener, had a run for a sizable gain to the right side in the red zone. Jordan Brooks broke through early in team drills for a tackle or tag for a loss on Devon Achane, running to the right side of the line. Calais Campbell also had potential tackle for a loss on a run. Zach Sealer was the man there for a run stop on Raheem Mostert up the middle. Emmanuel Ogbah had a probable sack with Tagovailoa trying to escape to one side. The Dolphins went through team periods at a walk-through pace. Tagovailoa threw a series of touchdowns and missed a couple of others off the mark, but again, there were a walk-through of plays. Terron Armstead and Jaelan Phillips were on the field for portions of the series. Quarterback Mike White did not take any snaps today, and no orange jersey player today at practice. Stock up. Tight end Jonnu Smith thrived on a day where there was such a red zone emphasis. On one of the more impressive plays Monday was his touchdown catch to the back of the pylon. After missing some days and having other sessions early in camp where not much was seen from him, Smith is trending in the right direction and looking like the pass-catching threat the Dolphins expect him to be. Stock down. With so much walkthrough activity, it's difficult to single out any player for poor practice. But those missing time like Cam Smith and Tanner Connor and Jody Fortson are losing ground among their position groups by not being out there. So I love to hear, we're looking through that for that red zone threat so we can, totally rip out the page of the playbook with that fade, and Jonnu Smith showing up and making big plays. You love to see that. You also love to see Emmanuel Ogbah continuing to make plays when he's been being put in a position to get opportunities at camp. It sounds like that front, listen, because here's where I go. If that defensive front looked that good on Friday and it was second, third, fourth string guys, imagine what the ones are going to look like. And what I also like to hear there is, when David Verona says can't get into too specific a play design, but just know Coach Mike McDaniel was using his creativity. I mean, that is very, very encouraging. Does he have some new tricks up his sleeve? Is that where we're at? Do we got some new tricks up the sleeve this year? Because we're going to need them. We know this. So I love hearing that. And, going back to what I said, Chris Perkins tweeted out today and everyone kind of jumped down and said, oh, you better be careful. But McDaniel showed a 2 tight end red zone formation with Chris Brooks in the backfield. Change winds might be blowing, and people were like, whoa, you better be careful. So, they were definitely showing some creativity at practice today. Very interested to see how this all works out. Very, very interested to see how this all works out. That's for sure. That is for damn sure. So, really, there wasn't very much going on because of the walkthrough speed today or whatever. You know what I mean? It was just kind of one of those days. So I expect it to ramp up as we get further into the week, obviously, and then joint practice on Thursday. Remember, we only have 1 joint practice this week with the Commanders, not 2 like we usually do. So I want to get into some things because Kay Adams was down at camp today. Shout out to the girls at Sideline T. They're going to have Kay Adams on Sideline T right after training camp. That's what the plan is. So Kay Adams is going to be joining Sideline T. Shout out to the girls for having another great female in the industry like Kay Adams coming on. After already having Mina Kimes. Great stuff. So couple clips I wanted to play here regarding McDaniel talking about Tua, and then I want to get into something that Tyreek said. So let's get into McDaniel and what he's seen from Tua in terms of his growth and blossoming.
You know, I have this one memory, we talk about it often. The first time, you know, there's a lot made about the tape that I made that I showed everybody that had eyes in the building, and showed him as well. Well, his disposition and him as a person, when he came into my office, which was the first time that he came in my office and watched that, you know, I saw a guy that was kind of looking at me, trying to figure out what I wanted him to, how I wanted him to behave, and just kind of you'd say shy version of himself that I think now, as you see him blossom as a player and as a person, it's always really cool to reflect on. So I didn't know that as well. So that's been a cool.
So he has blossomed. I'm hearing he's more vocal. He's coming out here saying we are a player-led team. We all need to be accountable for each other. So what is it that you do here, Coach?
What do I do?
I mean, it sounds like they're running the show themselves.
Well, so it's I trick people into thinking that I work.
Okay.
So, I mean, you saw what he said there, right? I mean, you know, it's just another, like, we've seen Tua start to come out of his shell, you know, especially, third year, knows the coaching staff, knows the people around him, and now into his third year here, you're kind of seeing the layers get peeled back on Tua Tagovailoa, and we're kind of getting to see the leader he's becoming, right? It's unfolding right in front of our eyes, right? So, you know, man, it's just, there's a different feeling, right? And I've talked about this. It feels like he's got a chip on his shoulder in terms of he wants to show everyone why he got paid and taken care of the way he did. You know? I just, you know, it's just again, one of the hardest workers in the room, and, you know, it's almost like he took getting paid personal. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's almost like he took getting paid personal. And this is what Tyreek said. You know, I went over the BetUS little plug earlier, talking about the odds of him winning the MVP. And listen to what Tyreek said today about Tua Tagovailoa and his chances at winning the MVP.
I feel like he's being a little more mobile. He's getting outside the pocket a little more. Mm-hmm. And that means you're going to have to run a little bit more, which I have a feeling you like. What does it mean for the DBs that you're going to face this year?
It's going to be scary this year, man. I can see a lot of improvements in Us's game, man. He's done a tremendous job on, you know, just really honing in on his craft, like, each and every offseason. And then, obviously, like, calling us, like me and Waddle and some of the other guys, to come work out with him, man. So it's been a beautiful thing, man, like, each and every year, just to be a part of his whole development from year one I've been with him to year 3. Like, I can say that this year, like, I'm going to call my shot. Like, he can be MVP candidate once again and even win the thing, man, because he's just that nice. Like, and I played with the best quarterback, which is Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm saying, like, he's up there in caliber-wise, I feel like, anyways. He has that.
So, I mean, there you go. I mean, this man is straight up plugging MVP race Tua. It's no longer just plugging him as his quarterback and a player. This man's saying he's up there. He's, you know, Mahomes is the best in the league, but this man's right up there. And he's talking about him being in that MVP race. You know, and we've already played the clip here where Tyreek's talked about the pop he's noticed into his arm this offseason, right? He, you know, where he said, either I'm getting slower or your arm's getting stronger. And what did Tua say? Well, Oos, the arm's getting stronger. You know what I mean? So, absolutely love it. When even other players on the team are discussing you in the same sentence as MVP, Man, that is just to see the growth and how far Tua's come, man. What a time to be alive, baby. And just to think, Flores almost ruined this. 425 of you in the room. Let's get into some highlights from today, okay? I'll start off with some Jaelan Phillips highlights. We got 3 little clips. 2 of those provided by my boys Tony H and Alex from the Blitz Pickup. Go check them out. New channel on YouTube. Go show them some love. And this was Jaelan Phillips today, just so you guys can get a feel of what he looked like at practice, okay? Oh, yeah. Let's go. And then from today, if you haven't had the chance to see it, here's that dime in the back of the end zone from Tua to Jonnu Smith. Woo, kid. One more time. Woo, kid. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, this team is going to be different this year in the red zone. You can already sense it. You can already feel it. Man, I don't know about all you, but I am hyped to watch this team in the red zone. I am hyped to watch this team come September. Let's go. And James Steele says it. Damn, Gesicki couldn't do that. 110%. 110%. We are about to see what a real playmaking tight end looks like right here. All right? I'm telling you, baby. It's going down in the red zone this year. Tyreek, Waddle, OBJ, Jonnu Smith, Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Raheem Mostert. Look at the options we have in the red zone this year. Man, never mind to a time. It's about to be to a dime. All right? Whew. How can you not be excited for what we're on the precipice of? Man, if this team wins the division and gets home field advantage, look out. Look out. Look out. Jonte Moore says no more fades. Exactly. And Darth also says, don't forget Tua running into the end zone himself. Hey, one of the biggest things that stood out to me when I was down there is just how nimble he looked. Just how nimble he looked. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love what we're seeing. Man, this is going to be a good year. It's going to be a beautiful year to be a Dolphin fan. That's for sure. Can't wait to watch it grow. And one final thing. Listen. Hey, when you break it down, the Dolphins, second oldest average age right now in the NFL. But, I mean, who's number one? San Fran. And they just went to the Super Bowl last year. Who's tied with us? Houston. And they've had a young plethora of talent infused over the last couple of years. But it's about finding that right blend of veterans and young talent. Now, KC at the bottom, I mean, that defense, right? So much youth. But the Dolphins right now have the second oldest team in the NFL, and I don't look that as a hindrance. I don't look that as a hindrance at all. You know what that tells me? We know, us as Dolphin fans, we know how much young talent we have on this team, but that tells me the talent we've infused. The talent we've infused, the veteran talent we've infused with experience. I mean, do you think it's a coincidence we brought in Calais Campbell and Jordan Poyer, and they're basically teaming up with Jalen Ramsey, and all of a sudden we look like bullies on defense? Do you really think it is? It's a coincidence? No, man, because, these older age veterans, they help change the culture. So you're not going to hear me, they got one of the oldest teams in the NFL. No, man, I realize the youth we have, from Tua, to Waddle, to Achane, to Jalen Wright, to Malik Washington. Aaron Brewer's still young. Austin Jackson's still young. right? And then on defense, I mean, Jaelan Phillips, Chop, Mo. It's not like Zach Sealer is anywhere over the hill right now. Ethan Bonner, Javon Holland, Elijah Campbell. We got youth, man. So, listen, I love it. Over 450 of you in the room right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Appreciate each and every one of you coming through on this episode. I am going to get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow to recap another day of practice. Hope you all will join me. Smash that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. We are closing in on 16K. Let's get there. All right. As always, you know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see all of you on the next one. Fins up. Take it easy, everyone. And shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's episode.